paint as many of these as gay as possible and get as many of these people to send me things. And I'm just going to plaster all over Battletech. And now I'm not only the Queen of Wokehammer, I'm the Queen of Woketech. How you like that?
Hello everyone, and welcome back to this series where we are talking to hobbyists from around the world, and in this case quite far away from me, about their hobby and about the experiences that they have being a hobbyist as a member of groups that are not the dominant majority demographic in our hobby. If you're unaware, the dominant demographic majority in this hobby is white men, and so we are talking to anyone who is not a white man. We want to talk to people whose voices aren't always shown and highlighted, and to show how the diversity and the range of people in the hobby makes everything better. So with me today is Christy, who is the Queen of Wokehammer on Twitter. Welcome, Christy. Thank you so much for coming onto this show.
Thank you for having me, Annie. I'm so proud to be here. I love what you're doing so far. What got me into the hobby? Just being a nerd, going to comic book stores and playing different games. I like to role play. I like to play a lot of different games. Seeing my content, it's not just Warhammer or not just D&D. It's like a bunch of games and whatnot that we play. I mean, I will play with anyone. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's an elderly person or a small child. Oh, let's just sit down, let's play a game. And mini painting just is a consequence of that. It's like, I'm tired of looking at these gray figures that come in the game. And my husband learned and he taught all of us, so we all know how to paint pretty well. I have two teenager sons and a teenage daughter, and then my husband, and we all sit down and paint. Biracial kids, because my husband is a white male. So just in case you think I'm just going on a tangent, but I have a vendetta against white men, it's not true at all.
How long have you been doing the hobby? Is it recently or has it been for ages? TTRPG, like tabletop RPG games or war games, it's been a minute, But as far as painting miniatures, I know that me and the kids have been painting since 2018. I think my husband might have been painting a year longer than us. But we've, as soon as the kids are old enough to understand how to play games, more complicated game systems, that's when we start really ramping up. And it's like, okay, they know the rules more than us. It's like, okay, what was that again? How do you? Don't expect me to remember rules. Yeah, it's really great that you can play with your family. I'm waiting for the day that I can do that with my son. He's 6, so I think we have a little bit of time. But I'm hoping that he'll be into models and stuff when he gets a bit older.
Well, I think they get that way. Like, they see you enjoying yourself as a parent. Well, why are you having so much fun with this? What's going on? And then once they learn how to paint minis, they're just like, whatever. All right, well, let me paint this real quick and be about my day. I'm like, okay, you just made a masterpiece in twice less time than I. You
guys play games together. Which games do you tend to play as a group?
We've done a lot of different Warhammer games and stuff. We've got the Kill Teams. Mm-hmm. We have Speed Freaks. We have Blood Bowl. We do have Age of Sigmar, and 40K. Like, my army's the Thousand Sons of 40K. My oldest son is the Admech army. My middle son's is the Orcs. My husband is the Imperium, or whatever army, because he has one of each army. We just specifically have our own army. He's like, no, I'm just going to paint every one of each army. So whenever I decide to pick one, there it is. My daughter has Sister of Battle. I have Thousand Sons. Age of Sigmar, I have Zinch, Chaos. My daughter is Daughter of cane. He's got a death army, and then my husband has one of each army. Right now he's painting corn.
Your hobby is varied and vast, and you do it with your entire family, and it sounds like you guys have a really great time. What is it like being the Queen of Wokehammer, specifically on Twitter? It's your profile name, and yeah, you do a lot of stuff online around diversity and inclusion.
Very important to understand that the same struggles that people have in the hobby world are the same struggles that they may have with employment or housing or justice, or it's all intersectional, and that if there can be discrimination at those levels, that even in this niche hobby level it is, and to be aware that these things exist and that people different from you like the same stuff that you do. It's not like we're just all of a sudden see it and be like, oh, let's get in and just like tear it apart. Like, why? We want to play too. We just don't think it's cool that you're going around saying things or doing things that are not very nice. If you just had the opportunity, you would realize that I like to play with little plastic dolls that go pew 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 and paint them up too.
I think that gatekeeping and all of those people who just decide that minority people want to destroy stuff are just kicking themselves in the foot, really, aren't they? Like, we're just people and we just want to play the games, and I think we bring so much to it. They're ruining it for themselves, really, aren't they, if they don't embrace everyone?
I mean, if I'm trying to bring down the empire, why would I invest in it?
I've got thousands of models and all sorts of things like that, and I'm
right.
like, I'm not trying to change your thing. I just want to play Space Marines,
Person of color miniature, or a gender ambiguous person joins the models, and it's just the woke mob. All of a sudden it's like, well, one versus how many of these white male presenting figures do we have? And we just get one. Okay, that's just one too many.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick all my armies just black and gay. That's it.
That would be amazing. I was speaking to another person the other day, and we were talking about how the model lines like have progressed, especially since like we started, in terms of their gender and sort of racial diversity as well, especially within Age of Sigmar, like the new Stormcast and stuff. You've got characters like Bastian Karthos, who is a black man, who's just like the most badass and amazing character.
It looks so good. It looks so good. I can't contain myself, but that's my husband. He has the Stormcast.
So much better than when every single model was just like the same white guy.
It is part of it, and I had a post about skin tone paint. Paint more people of color, or just paint, even if you're painting non-humanoids, paint more diversity. If you got like an army of orcs, they're not all just one green. Well, they might be a lighter shade of green or a darker shade of green, or maybe a little muddled. Have diversity even in your paint jobs, because you never know who's you're playing against is going to notice, number one, and number two, it looks better. It just, when you have a different, they're like, wow, it makes your armies look, I don't know, automatically just ups the level if you have more diversity. And don't be afraid to paint somebody who looks different than you. You don't know how to do a person of color's hair, or what the different variations in their tonalities are, and you just got to get out there and try it, and then you'll realize that this area is lacking and this area needs more. And it's all intersectional is what I'm saying.
It is all one fight, and we are all in this together. So speaking of people who need to learn to adapt, you spend a lot of time, I think, or at least from what I see on Twitter, people sort of seeking you out to yell at you. You are a saint too. Do you think it's important to have those kinds of conversations out in the open on like things like Twitter, where people can see that happening?
Yeah, because for one, there's it shows that people like this exist. It also shows the frequency unto which stuff like this happens. And then also exposes the ignorance, especially when I confront them back directly about it, because one, they're not used to someone coming back. They're used to someone just blocking them or doing that. I will eventually block them, but I feel like it's very important to have these conversations so you can directly confront someone's worldview, because basically I'm just an avatar saying, hey, what you believe is not true, because I'm telling you or showing you examples of inequality, or speaking to my experience or allowing other people to speak on their experiences. It directly confronts what you think is right, or what happens, how the world is, and someone's telling you directly, no, you're kind of wrong, you're not seeing the world for what it is. Or they like upholding the status quo and don't want you to succeed, and they'll do anything to counteract that voice because they like the way it is. And I think it's fun too, and it's funny. It's fun and funny. I do get a little.
I don't think I could do it. I think that I wouldn't be strong enough to have endless conversations with the worst people. Proud of you for doing that and taking that fight on for people. But yeah, well done, and keep doing it, I guess.
I have a choice. I'm going to continue to post pictures of me painting, but there will always be some idiot that's going to be like, you communist, woke mob. I'm like, all right, I'm just painting a dragon, but whatever.
They come at you. If we were just posting stuff about political engagement of all the time, I would kind of understand a bit of debate, but you just paint pictures of you painting models with your family. People just come at you, racists come at you, gatekeepers, and people who don't think that you should be in the hobby. And I think, hats off to you for continuing to be as strong as you are in the face of all of that, I think.
Well, I remember one incident, because and it's been years and years, and I didn't know anything about the world or whatever. They look like cool mech robots or whatever, and one of my friends is like, yeah, I got a code, and I'll send you your first combat box. And I'm like, oh, wow, I guess Battletech needs me. Well, one guy's like, oh, look at you just going over because your virtual signal. I'm like, what? Out of that comment turned it into I wasn't interested in Battletech. I'm just only coming over to Woke Scold and everything. And it's just like, now I am. Now you may be aware of your existence. And now I'm aware of this toxic content. Oh, and another creator who's been known to be problematic went over here because he got dumped by Warhammer, so now he's glomming onto the Battletech thing. And because I'm over here, your stupid fan base is over here. Well, let me go ahead and paint as many of these as gay as possible and get as many of these people to send me things, and I'm just gonna plaster all over Battletech. And now I'm not only the Queen of Wokehammer, I'm the Queen of Woketech. How you like that?
That's amazing. I'm not super into Battletech, but I kind of thought it was pretty woke already.
They don't know what they're talking about. They're the ones that are trying to say, oh, you're trying to change lore, you're just doing this. And it's like, well, what I'm reading and what from the actual fans are telling me, they have been very much so for a very long time. Even in their video games, they have the pronouns they, them. Like, you could pick a they, them person to go inside the mechs and whatever. So you guys had a baby fit over that, but all it did was make it a little bit more popular and more. Good job, y'all.
Yeah, well done, gatekeepers. You just made everything better for us, was for you.
I didn't know this existed until now. Thank you.
What do you think the people who are less marginalized can do to help make the hobby as inclusive as possible?
Play games, interact with us, enjoy yourself in our company, and we'll enjoy your company too, playing the games, consuming the things that we've invested our time and energy in enjoying and for entertainment and having fun with us. Also, when you do see someone being stupid, we're not the only ones standing up for that. We're not the only ones doing the emotional labor who are a massive idiot. Okay, there's a bunch of people saying that, confronting those stupid things. They'll be less likely to be on that stance, or they will continue to get resistance. They're like, okay, wait a minute, maybe I gotta examine my thing, or maybe just I'm gonna go to my corner and not interact.
It would be great if all of the bigots could go back in their hate holes, please, and stay there forever. Thank you.
Well, there was a time where they did just do that. I think certainly, world leaders and stuff have made it fashionable to come out.
In your ideal world, what does the future of Warhammer or the future of tabletop games look like? What would you love to see, either from a game perspective, from a change in the community, or like just anything really?
Well, I think they're on the right course, business to make money off of us, but if enough of us are demanding certain things out of our products like diversity, inclusion, maybe a little less FOMO, a little fan service maybe, give some armies a little bit more attention and love towards including other people, including more women, more LGBTQ, more different. I would even like to see more more people with disabilities represented in our miniatures too, like an amputee or something of that effect. Not everybody is a perfect human being. Maybe a little bit of body diversity too, a little size diversity. Because I'm a short bean. I would like to maybe see some short beans, or maybe some tall beans, or more thicker beans. A little more diversity.
Yeah, like you say, I think that particularly Games Workshop, as the biggest company within, I think, at least my sort of knowledge, they're doing a lot of stuff right, but there is still a long way that they can go.
And they don't know unless more people make it known. Because you might feel like you're beating a dead horse, or but if you're constantly saying the same things over and over, somebody will eventually listen, or enough people saying like, yeah, why don't they? And then they join in with the choir of discourse, and then maybe, just maybe, change happens.
That's the end of my questions. Thank you so much for answering them and for being on this little episode of this show. It's been an absolute blast. I think that you are one of the people who I look up to the most, especially on Twitter, with the stuff that you do and the way that you approach this hobby. So it's been really cool to get to speak to you. I've really enjoyed speaking to all the people that I've had on these little episodes so far. I've basically gone through my list of hobby heroes and just messaged them like, hey, can I please talk to you?
Well, thank you for having me, and you're probably one of the hobby heroes, considering that that's very important, and it gets the message out here that, there's a lot of different people out here who love the same cool stuff. That's the whole goal.
That is the whole goal, getting across our perspectives and all of the experiences that we have. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you once again, Christy, for being on this, and I will see you in the next episode.
Oh, thank you. Bye.